Today, President Trump tweeted, and with that tweet made an accusation that the New York Times had set up Senator Corker, who several days ago, or last week rather, announced he would not be running for a third term in the United States Senate, to sound foolish during the interview, and that's what Trump claims to be dealing with. Now, the title of this is Liddle Bob Corker, because that's what Trump referred to Corker as in his message. They've been going on for a couple of days now. It's been a war of words and exchanges that have harkened some commentators back to this past presidential election, in which Trump coined several names for his various opponents, such as Lion Ted, Little Marco, Crazy Bernie, Crooked Hillary, various terms that were implemented at that point. And seemingly they're making a comeback with the new feud that he's having. Now, there are a couple of theories as to how this could play out. There was some insistence that Corker, being Trump's senior in terms of his political influence within the Senate, will be able to potentially have some repercussions on Trump by standing in his way if he wants to get tax reform out, or make some other attempt at health care next year, or in 6 months when the DACA program is past its deadline for Congress in March, whether or not that's going to play a role in this. Really, what is most noteworthy about the encounter, or this feud, is that up until this point, barring Rand or Senator Paul, whichever term you'd like to use to apply to him, there really hasn't been someone, at least on the Republican side, that Trump has assailed within Congress. Now, there have been members of his own cabinet that he's gone after, in particular Sessions, when the latter offered his resignation back in May and Trump declined and went on his various rants on Twitter. But apart from that, there really hasn't been much of a conflict with congressional Republicans. So it's opening this new can of worms, because remember, we're not even a year into this administration. We don't know if it's gonna be 4, 8, whatever. If this is the way that he's still seeking to speak, what good is there to suggest will come after this? I remember distinctively there was a claim made that, oh well, he hasn't had enough time running for office, and if he actually wins, he'll be humbled down by the position that he holds. Barring a couple of prepared speeches that were written by someone else, I'm not really seeing where he's any less unhinged than he was before. And this is months, and we're almost, if so, we don't know how long this is going to last, but he's been president for months now, okay? And however long his tenure is, he still has had close to a year of being in office, or 9 months, and still the same childish banter. And Corker said a thing about the daycare center, the White House being an adult daycare center. I wanted to not concede that was the case, because part of me likes to believe there is some competence in government, as crazy as that sounds, but I can't really fault him, given the ramifications that we've seen in terms of Trump's rhetoric since that happened, or since the man Corker made that claim. I can't fault him for viewing Trump that way, and I can't get mad at him for thinking that, we've seen better. We have. And it's not just someone's policies. You're going after a guy over some words, who's never going to hold your position, who doesn't want to even be in Congress anymore, barring next year. I just don't get it. And that's kind of what is so frustrating to me, that you will sit here and watch back and forth. We've had 2 years now of him in the political scene, ever since he announced his campaign. What was that, June 16th of 2 years ago? And from then we've seen continuous bickering, name calling. And I hate doing this, because I'm not someone who really thinks that there needs to be any more. Trump has enough critics as it is. I don't see why I need to go in on him, but this is, it's more nonsense that wastes the time of everyone who lives in the U.S. More frivolous arguments.